A group of high school students who are part of the astronomy club are on a field trip under the starry skies of Richmond, Virginia, where they are stargazing using their telescope. Students Leo and Sarah are talking when their supervisor, Mr. Perry, asks Leo to name the stars. Leo names the stars correctly but notices an unusual star in the system. Perry takes a closer look at the star and suggests that Leo take a picture of it and send it to a senior astronomer named Dr. Wolf. Next, Dr. Wolf receives the pictures and dials in the coordinates of the star. He realizes it is an unknown moving object projected to hit Earth. Shocked by this discovery, he copies all the data to his drive and names the object Wolf Biedermann by combining his and Leo's last names. He tries to send the information through email, but the server's not working. Then he quickly gets in his car with the drive, heading to the Department of Planetary Sciences. However, he crashes into a truck and tragically dies. 1 year later, a struggling news researcher, Jenny, is begging her boss, Beth, the White House correspondent, to give her a chance to become a journalist or an anchor. Beth refuses, telling her to focus on the recent resignation of the U.S. Secretary of Treasury, Allen. Later, Jenny meets her mother, Robin, who tells her that her father has divorced her and married a woman only 2 years older than Jenny. He even has twins with his new wife, which makes it very hard for Robin. Jenny leaves in a hurry because she has a meeting with Allen's secretary, Patricia. Next, Jenny meets with Patricia, who reveals that Allen has been having affairs with many women, but the only name she knows is Ellie. To Jenny's surprise, even the president is aware of this woman in her relationship with Allen. Next, Jenny finds Allen, who is preparing to leave on a boat with huge supplies for his family. She confronts him, but he tells her that what she has stumbled upon is the biggest story in history. However, he refuses to share more because he needs to be with his family. Jenny leaves with more questions than answers. She even suspects that the mysterious Ellie could be the president's mistress and that Allen is just covering for him. But she can't be sure because none of this would explain why it's the biggest story in history. But suddenly the Secret Service surrounds her and forces her into a building. There she is surprised to meet the president himself, who asks her how much she knows about Ellie. This confuses Jenny because she thought Ellie was a person, but she keeps silent for now. The president asks her not to pursue this investigation further, as he promises to give a statement in 2 days where he will reveal everything. He even promises her a front row seat and the chance to ask the first question during his speech, which will help her get a promotion. Jenny is very confused, especially after seeing the building packed with food and supplies, as if they are preparing a bunker. Next, Jenny goes back to her office and searches the term ELE. She realizes it means extinction level event, like an asteroid hitting Earth. The next night, Jenny visits her father, Jason, and his new wife, Chloe, but she is still shaken by the extinction level event. She then tells Jason that he should go back to her mother, Robin, and be with her, which offends both Chloe and Jason. Jenny leaves with a huge look of distress on her face. The next day, Jenny attends the press conference and sits in the front row, which surprises and frustrates Beth, who is sitting in the back. The president reveals the truth about the recently discovered Wolf Biedermann comet and explains that it will destroy all life on Earth as we know it. The comet will arrive in about a year, and the USA, along with Russia, has been developing the largest spaceship ever built, called the Messiah. For the past 8 months, the mission has been under preparation, and it will launch in 2 months to try and stop the comet. He introduces the crew that will board the ship: 5 American astronauts, Mission Commander Orrin, Pilot Andrea, Medical Officer Gus, Navigator Mark, and seasoned NASA astronaut Captain Tanner, who will land the spacecraft on the comet to plant the warheads. A Russian nuclear physicist and engineer, Kaler Mikhail, will also join the team. The president assures everyone that life will prevail and that they will overcome this catastrophe. Next, Jenny asks the president 3 questions before anyone else, making her popularity skyrocket in the journalism industry. But her fame is nothing compared to the young astronomer Leo, who discovered the comet. People gather at Leo's house, including Sarah, to congratulate him on his discovery. Leo even gives a speech at his high school and appears on magazines. 2 months later, the crew launches from Earth and docks with the Messiah's booster, which is built in Earth's orbit. Then they complete a final launch toward the comet, making them the fastest human beings ever. After a few months, the Messiah cruises through space, and reaches the Wolf-Biederman comet. Jenny is given the anchor desk and reports on this important mission in the history of mankind. Next, Andrea and Tanner take the ship to land on the comet's surface as the whole world watches them desperately. Despite the rough ride, Tanner uses his long expertise to land the ship so they can plant the nuclear warheads they are carrying. The crew has only 7 hours before the sun rises on the surface they are working on, which will cause the comet to heat up and trigger volatile gas eruptions from its interior. The Messiah crew needs to work quickly to avoid this hazard. Jenny, who is doing the live coverage of the mission, explains that the crew will now place a drill on the surface and dig deep into the comet, where they will plant the warheads. The crew tirelessly drills into the comet for more than 5 hours, but they only manage to go a few meters down. Then, one of the drills gets stuck, and Oren decides to go down into the hole, even though the crew warns him that they are running out of time. He manages to get the machine working again and begins climbing back up using his cable. Meanwhile, Mikhail urgently tells the surface crew to lower their solar shields. Just as Oren reaches the surface, a gas jet shoots him into the air before he can lower his shield. The sunlight blinds his unprotected eyes. The crew pulls him back with the tether cable and rushes toward the landing module. In the chaos, Gus is blown into space and is lost. The rest of the crew barely makes it back to the ship and leaves the comet with the warheads buried deep inside it. Next, Tanner reports to Earth, telling them about Gus's death and Oren's injury. Tanner now takes charge of the mission and prepares to detonate the nuclear warheads. Mikhail arms the warheads and detonates them. The shock wave sends the Messiah off course and they lose communication with Earth. The president then announces that although the detonation was a success, it didn't destroy the comet. Instead, it broke it into 2 parts, one larger and one smaller, and both are still headed toward Earth. He reveals 2 backup plans that have been in development ever since the discovery of the comet. One plan is to launch Titan missiles to deflect the comet, but the Titans can only be launched when the comet is much closer to Earth. The second plan involves digging shelter caverns into the limestone cliffs of Missouri to serve as a modern Noah's Ark. These shelters will hold up to 1 million people, along with enough animals and plants to restore life on Earth once the disaster's over. 200,000 important people, including soldiers, government officials, doctors, engineers, and other essential families, have already been selected to enter the Ark. The remaining 800,000 will be randomly chosen from the population under 50 years of age. The president prays that God will be on their side and declares martial law. In the next few minutes, the pre-selected families are informed, and the remaining people will be selected in the coming days. Leo and his family are told that they have been pre-selected to be in the Ark due to Leo's discovery. Meanwhile, on the Messiah, the crew decides to go back home despite the setbacks of their mission. 1 month before impact, Jenny meets Robin and tells her that she has been pre-selected, even though she doubts she will contribute anything to the upcoming human civilization. However, there is civil unrest everywhere as looters and criminal gangs take to the streets, doing whatever they want with the little time they have left. Meanwhile, Leo runs to find Sarah and tells her that if she marries him, she and her family can be on the Ark. Oh, Frodo, always running with a ring. Soon they get married and wait for the military to take them to the Ark. The officer confirms everyone's identity, but announces that only Sarah will go with Leo's family, leaving her family behind. This leads to an argument between the families and the military. Despite Sarah's father telling her to leave, Sarah decides to stay with her family. Leo leaves with his family, promising to talk to the president about helping Sarah's family. Next, Jenny receives a phone call informing her that her mother has been found dead in her apartment after taking her own life. Jenny heads to the medical examiner and receives her mother's jewelry that was left for her. She then sits in the rain waiting for her father to arrive. As soon as she sees him, she takes out her anger on him, telling him to go back to his new wife. Jason tells her that Chloe has left him to be with her mother, but Jenny says she despises him. She tells him that she is now an orphan because she has lost her only parent, her mother, and leaves. With only 5 days until impact, the selected people begin entering the Ark, protected by the military, who are keeping the desperate public from forcing their way inside. Different animal species and plants are also transported to the Ark. Just then, Leo and his family arrive. As they are about to go inside, Leo informs his parents that he will not go without Sarah. After bidding farewell to his parents, he goes back to find her. Meanwhile, Jason visits Jenny, showing her pictures of them from when she was a child. He tells her that she is not an orphan and asks her to keep the pictures. He says goodbye, telling her he is leaving the city. Next, Leo finds a truck filled with people heading to his hometown. The comet can now be seen perfectly clear as it follows its trajectory toward Earth. The Titan missiles are launched in a final attempt to deflect it. The president anxiously waits for results but is heartbroken to announce that the missiles have failed. Now, there is nothing that can be done to save humanity except proceeding with Project Noah's Ark. The smaller part of the comet, now called Biedermann, will hit the Atlantic Ocean in just 12 hours, destroying Washington, New York City, Boston, and other coastal cities. The president urges everyone to get away from the cities as quickly as possible. However, this will not help when the second, larger comet, now called Wolf, strikes Canada 3 hours after Biedermann makes contact. This second impact will cause global extinction. The president explains that only after 2 years will the survivors in the Ark begin rebuilding humanity and life as we know it. 10 hours before impact, Tanner proposes a final plan to destroy the Wolf comet. Using the Messiah's last 4 warheads, they will aim to detonate them inside a large fissure on the comet's surface, breaking it into harmless fragments. However, with life support and fuel nearly depleted, the crew knows this is a suicide mission. Accepting their fate, they prepare for the final run. After weeks of silence, the Messiah contacts Houston and informs them that, while they can't stop the Biedermann comet, they have a chance to destroy the Wolf comet and save humanity from extinction. They request the nuclear codes and prepare to blow up the comet. Meanwhile, Leo takes a motorbike and rushes to find Sarah. Jenny, who is rushing to go to the Ark, finds Beth and her daughter in the nursery room. Jenny grabs Beth's daughter and runs to the helicopter. When they reach the top, she tells Beth that she has given up her place for them, and Jenny leaves. Next, Leo finds Sarah and her family, who are evacuating the city. He takes Sarah and her baby brother with him to the Ark. Jenny then goes to the beach house to spend her final moments with her father and makes peace with him. Soon, the Biedermann comet enters Earth's atmosphere and crashes into the Atlantic Ocean, visible to everyone nearby. A massive mushroom cloud rises from the impact, which can be seen from space. At Jason's beach house, Jenny and Jason are the first to be hit by the shockwave as a huge tsunami engulfs the coastal cities. New York City, once known for its skyscrapers, is now underwater. The tsunami swallows all coastal cities, including Sarah's parents. Meanwhile, Leo and Sarah, along with her baby brother, drive on the motorbike to a nearby hill. Next, the Messiah crew bids an emotional farewell to their families and heads directly toward the Wolf comet. The warheads explode, breaking the Wolf comet into millions of tiny pieces. Leo, Sarah, and her baby brother reach the top of the hill just in time to escape the tsunami, watching as the fragments create a dazzling light show in the sky, while disintegrating as they enter the atmosphere. Later, the president addresses a massive crowd in Washington, D.C. after the Atlantic waters have receded. He honors the countless lives lost across the world and those who sacrificed themselves so humanity could continue to live. Millions have lost their lives and become homeless. But one thing is for sure, human beings will continue to live another day. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.